Where small hands build big bridges. My name is Daniel, and I am 26 years old. If someone asks me what defines me the most, I do not talk first about my job, my education, or the places I have traveled. I simply say this: I love kids. There is something pure about them, something untouched by fear, pride, or judgment. When I am around children, the world feels lighter, more honest. Maybe it is because they speak the truth without knowing they are doing so. Maybe it is because they remind me of a version of myself I do not want to lose. This story began during one of my journeys. I was traveling alone, moving from place to place, letting unfamiliar streets teach me new ways of seeing life. The country was new to me, the culture vibrant, and the language, Spanish, beautiful but completely unfamiliar. I could hear it everywhere, in markets, on buses, in laughter shared between strangers. I understood none of it, and yet it surrounded me like music. One afternoon, while waiting in a public space, I noticed a small boy sitting a little distance away from me. He could not have been more than 5 years old. His feet dangled above the ground, and his hands were busy with a small toy. Every few moments, he looked around as if the world was too big and he was trying to take it all in at once. Then his eyes met mine. Children have a way of looking at people without filters. He did not look away quickly the way adults do. He simply stared, curious and open. I smiled at him naturally, the way I always do when I see a child. At first, he only blinked. I waved gently and said, "Hello." He frowned. I tried again, speaking slowly, softly. "What's your name?" No response, only confusion. His eyebrows came together, and I realized what the problem was. He didn't understand English. And I, unfortunately, did not understand Spanish. Still, I wanted to play. I made a silly face, crossed my eyes for a moment, hoping to make him laugh. He almost did, but then stopped, unsure. The distance between us suddenly felt very large. It wasn't just the physical space, it was the distance of language, of worlds that didn't quite meet. That was when his mother noticed. She stood nearby, watching carefully, as mothers always do. She smiled at me, kind but alert, and said, "He doesn't understand English. He only speaks Spanish." Her English surprised me, it was clear and calm. "That's okay," I replied quickly. "I really love kids. I just wanted to talk to him, play with him." Her expression softened. She knelt beside her son and spoke to him in Spanish, her voice gentle and reassuring. I didn't understand her words, but I understood her tone. She was explaining me to him, not just translating language, but translating intention. The boy listened closely, looking at his mother, then back at me. Slowly, his hesitation faded. A smile spread across his face, bright and fearless. He stood up, walked toward me, and held out his toy as if offering friendship. That moment erased the distance between us. We began to play without words. He rolled his toy toward me, and I rolled it back. We laughed at nothing and everything. We clapped, jumped, and made sounds that belonged to no language at all. His laughter was clear and honest, and it filled something inside me I didn't know was empty. His mother watched us for a while, then sat beside me. "My name is Charlie," she said. "I'm Daniel," I replied. As her son continued to play near us, Charlie and I began to talk. She told me she had come to this country because of her husband's job. "My husband works here," she explained. We moved for his work. She looked at her son with a mixture of love and concern. But my child is very small. I couldn't live here alone without him. Where I come from, everyone takes care of him, my parents, my family, even neighbors. He's never alone. She paused, then continued more quietly. Here, it's just me and my husband. When my husband goes to work, it's only me and my child. No family, no extra support. I listened carefully. Her words were simple, but the weight behind them was heavy. She wasn't complaining. She was sharing. Is it hard? I asked gently. She nodded. Sometimes. Not because my husband doesn't care, he cares deeply. But back home, my child grows in many arms. Here, he grows in just two. Charlie told me more about her family, about how her parents missed their grandson every day, about how video calls could never replace real hugs. She spoke about how her child was still adjusting to new sounds, new faces, a new language. Children are strong, she said. But they also feel everything. She also spoke about her husband, Daniel. He loves children, she said with a small smile. No matter how tired he is, he always finds time for our son. He works for us, for our future. That evening, I met him. He returned from work looking tired but peaceful. The moment he saw his son, his face changed completely. He picked him up, listening patiently as the boy spoke excitedly in Spanish, pointing toward me again and again. Charlie laughed. He's talking about you, she said. He says you play funny. Her husband smiled and extended his hand. Thank you for being kind to my son, he said sincerely. From that day, something changed. I began meeting them more often. Sometimes by chance, sometimes by choice. When Daniel went to work, I would visit Charlie and her son. We would sit together, talk, share tea, and watch the child play. I helped in small ways, keeping the boy busy, giving Charlie time to breathe. Over time, a friendship grew. Not loudly, not suddenly, but steadily. I learned more about their life, their struggles, their hopes. I saw how Daniel cared for his family not with big gestures, but with consistency. He showed up. He listened. He protected. Sometimes, when Daniel had a free day, we all met together. We shared meals, laughter, and stories. I felt less like a traveler and more like someone who belonged, even if only for a short time. What amazed me most was how care changed depending on place. Back home, Charlie's child was raised by many people. Here, he was raised by two loving parents and sometimes, by a friend who entered their lives through chance. When it was finally time for me to leave, the goodbye was heavier than I expected. Charlie hugged me tightly. You became part of our journey here, she said softly. Her son hugged me too, small arms holding on as if he understood more than words could explain. He didn't say goodbye in English or Spanish. He didn't need to. As I walked away, I realized something simple and powerful. Love does not need a shared language. It only needs honesty, care, and presence. My name is Daniel. I am 26 years old. And this journey taught me that sometimes, the smallest hands build the strongest bridges between hearts. One day, while walking toward the area where Charlie and her child lived, I felt a strange happiness growing inside me. It no longer felt like I was going to meet strangers. It felt like I was visiting someone familiar. On the way, I stopped at a small shop. My eyes went straight to the chocolates displayed near the counter. Without thinking too much, I bought a few simple ones, wrapped in bright paper. I smiled to myself, realizing how easily that little boy had found a place in my heart. When I reached their place, the child noticed me before anyone else. He ran toward me, shouting something excitedly in Spanish. I bent down and took out the chocolates, holding them in my open palm. His eyes widened with pure joy. He looked at his mother first, as if asking permission. Charlie laughed and nodded, translating gently that I had brought something for him. I gave him the chocolate, and in that moment, his happiness felt bigger than the gift itself. He hugged me suddenly, tightly, chocolate still in his small hand. That hug said more than any language ever could. Charlie watched us with soft eyes, her smile carrying gratitude and warmth. She said, "You didn't have to do this," but I could tell it meant a lot to her, not because of the chocolate, but because someone cared enough to think of her child. We sat together after that, the boy happily busy with his treat, occasionally offering me a piece with innocent generosity. I realized then that sometimes love shows itself in very small actions, a visit, a smile, a piece of chocolate given with sincerity. That day, I didn't just bring chocolate, I brought reassurance, trust, and a feeling of togetherness that crossed every boundary of language and place.